Josh Johnson is a writer, actor, stand-up comedian. He's coming to us from Louisiana, starting his career in Chicago and currently residing in New York. Josh has been able to captivate his audience through a combination of charisma and shock that is sure to keep you on your toes. Having started his career at The Tonight Show, he took his talents to The Daily Show in 2017, even having toured with former host Trevor Noah. His most recent special takes us on a journey of self-discovery. Centering around conversations with his therapist, Josh takes us down a vulnerable path through a jungle of laughter. He has been recognized as Comedy Central's most watched comedian ever, recognized as a new face at the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival in Montreal, and named a top comedian in New York at New York's Comedy Festival. Please welcome to the show, Josh Johnson.
Hey,
Hey, how is it? Happy
that
to have you on.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
I want to say first of all that I did make a mistake,
Okay.
and y'all are way more professional than this. This is my fault. Like
No.
for anyone looking at the framing, this is I did this because then they were like, "I'll meet you anywhere," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm at my hotel," and then they were nice enough to accommodate me, and it's just so you know when you watching this is my doing. Everything else that they shoot will be better than this. This is them accommodating me because I was horrible. I didn't even know I was being horrible. I thought at the time, I was
Sure.
like, this would be easier for
Yeah.
everybody. And then you came with a real camera and lights and stuff. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to fit in a Hilton Garden Inn.
No, we had to make it work for you. I've been so excited to really
That's
do this
very kind.
interview. I've been watching your stand up for a while now. Watched the special again last night.
Oh, thanks, man.
What gave you this idea to do it like with this kind of mix of vulnerability, as I mentioned in the intro, but also combining that with laughter? It's something that I feel like is hard to do, but you did it very, very well.
I I am gonna answer your question.
Sure.
I just have a question about
Okay.
real quick. So when you did the monologue, was I in the frame?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because then I probably look like a psycho. Because I was like, because then, okay, when you were saying everything, I was like, damn, he really got all this memorized. But I'm just looking around.
Sure.
So now it looks like I've paid you to say the stuff that you said, and I didn't. They were very professional, and
Not
they
paid,
they
not paid.
knew about me
No paid.
beforehand. I did not. This looks like I'm a truly failed actor. Like this is like I'm like come to my hotel room and say my bio to everybody. Also, I don't have a big hotel room because I'm not really where you'd think I would be at this point in life.
I think you're doing wonderful. I think
I
that
appreciate it.
the special was very well received.
To answer your question,
Sure.
basically, I worked with Jacob Minacci, who directed
Okay.
the special, and we have been talking for a long time about finding a sort of through line between the things that I would say in therapy and the things I ended up saying on stage, and kind of like taking the audience through the same journey that I went on. So like
Mhm.
you'll notice anything that gets said in therapy is more usually an idea, not like fully a joke.
Yeah.
And then it ends
Yes.
up becoming a joke when it's
Yeah.
on stage, because that's kind of the journey that I went on when I was writing the
Yeah.
hour and stuff. So, you know, the attempt is to try to do a cool, different thing each time.
Mhm.
So that was my stab at it, because I want every special that I do to have like some element of
Yeah.
breaking the form and
Sure.
everything,
Yeah.
and also to be, you know, funny. I mean, funny is ideal.
Sure. Yeah. Especially for a comedic, right?
Yeah, I honestly, I really should have more chairs in here. Like you got everybody. God damn, this really, because it's not. I'm not doing this to be like self-deprecating. I'm just stating a fact of like there's really nowhere for your team to sit.
This is fun. I'm telling you,
Everybody behind the camera, just so you know, is standing right now or squatting, and
Yeah.
like we got my buddy here squatting against the wall.
it works. No, I'm telling you, the first episode. So we do another show as well. It's like
Okay.
it's a culture centered show, and we went to an art gallery.
Uh-huh.
And that was all of us, same thing, standing up, all behind it. Trust me, we're 100% used to it. We appreciate you having us in this wonderful Hilton hotel room.
I've had nothing. Y'all were the ones helping me out, and like they got even the way that we met was not ideal. Because here's the thing, y'all had said you were close, and so I was like, I'm gonna wait.
Sure.
to go to the bathroom because the last thing I need is y'all setting up and then me in the bathroom for 12 minutes in the room and then everybody try to act like I'm not in the bathroom. So I was like, I'm gonna wait. And then y'all got real close and I was like, I think that I might just miss him, but I'm gonna go to the bathroom downstairs. That way no one will know that I've just like, because I've been full of diner food for like a day, for like a full day. And so then I go downstairs and then you're like drying your hands. Like when I get down there. And so I was like, all right, now they know. And then I met you back up here 12 minutes later.
Well, that was why because I also had to use the restrooms. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go like to his hotel room, walk in, and he's never met me, and I'm just going to be like, hey, can I just go to the restroom real quick? So we had the same idea. And that kind of, I think, fucked us over a little bit. But
maybe a touch.
Now we're here. Now we're doing this interview.
You know, first impressions are great.
No, first impressions are wonderful. We're here at this 5-star Hilton. This room's massive.
It's a 2. It's a 2.
It's a 2.
You can Google it. It says 2.
Well,
you know, have you seen the fitness center?
No.
It's got a treadmill and one of the knockoff Pelotons and no weights, but it's got the exercise ball in it. It's just every once in a while.
Have you used it yet?
I have not used it yet. I plan on using it. But it's you know, keeps you self-aware. Being in a place like this.
Wes Nyack, what made you pick it? Why are you starting the show here? Because this is the start of your sophomore tour, correct?
So I actually did a couple of shows. We went ahead and took them off the poster because they were so early in January.
Okay.
But yeah, Wes Nyack. I can't really act like I chose. They were kind enough to bring me. I don't know if I was really the one that was like I've chosen to bless the Palisades Mall. You know, it was more like. Last year, I done a one-nighter there, and then they brought me for the weekend. So I'm doing 5 shows this weekend. We did 2 yesterday, 2 tonight, and then 1 Sunday, and it's been great. I did a bunch of airsoft shooting today.
Airsoft shooting.
Yeah, and I'm getting pretty good. I'm getting pretty accurate. As long as the gun is not real or heavy.
Is this a hobby of yours? Is this
not at all. I've discovered it today. You know, I was walking through the mall because I hadn't eaten. Because like no disrespect to the area, but like that diner was rough. The diner that I had last night was really chaotic. It wasn't even me that got really like I think my eggs were put in the microwave. But
that's how you thought they cooked them, just from the beginning. Straight?
Easily. And then it was really my buddy Eric who got served the salmonella. Like it wasn't, he didn't get sick, but like the chicken was like, it was very pink. Like the chicken was pink in a way where we were both like, okay, and it was the wrong chicken because he had ordered like, you know.
So the diner did you dirty.
Yeah. I mean, and it was like 1:30 maybe or something. It was pretty late. So that's probably the D squad. If you're being honest, like that's not when you bring out the heavy hitters. It's like at 1 a.m. of any diner. So we all did our best.
This is my second time across the Mason-Dixie in my life ever.
Oh, really?
So I have not been to a diner yet. I went to one in Virginia, but I was told that I have to come to New York to experience what a diner and a deli is actually like.
If you go to New York City and you go to like Soho Diner, that place is amazing.
So that's your rec. I was going to ask you. What's your rec? Soho Diner?
I think Soho Diner is really good. And I'll look it up again to make sure I'm thinking of that one, but that's like one of the best I've been to outside of like being down south and everything. And everything else is fine. A lot of places are fine, but the diner we went to last night was, and the worst part was that we walked. Like we were already here, and then it was late, and we're like nothing's open but this diner and this White Castle, and the White Castle was already like, guys, it's
already a White Castle.
Yeah. So then we walked to the diner, and the diner is not far from the White Castle. They're pretty much next to each other. And then we walk past the White Castle into the diner. When we walk in, there are people eating. So someone's used to eating like this. And so we see the people eating. We're like, this is gonna be fine. And then we sit down. And when I can show you the picture because I took a picture of it.
I believe it.
When I went to the bathroom, there was just someone who had patched themselves up like truly Jason Bourne style. Like there was a lot of blood in
Really?
in the trash can, a lot of like bandages and tissues and stuff. It was just a ton of blood. And so then I went and sat down, and then we got our food, and I was like, okay, this is not gonna be great. I just got bacon, eggs, and hash browns.
And that wasn't great. And that's kind of hard to mess up.
It was not good. Yeah,
That's hard to mess up.
Yeah, it was really poor Eric with that chicken. I felt bad for him too, because like, I don't know, you really couldn't eat yours at all. I was over here like
it was that bad. It was that raw.
I was trying to eat as fast as I could, because I was like, if it's hot, it's edible. So I'm like burning my tongue on bad food, and then my man over here, yeah, it was very pink. It was like you ever see, like, when you see raw chicken?
Yeah.
It looked like that.
It was just raw.
It wasn't fully raw. It had grill marks on
Okay.
it, but as he was saying, it just tastes like it had been in the microwave.
That makes sense.
Then they came over, because then our server noticed Eric hadn't eaten anything. And so then he was like, "Do you not like it?" And at a certain point, you can't lie, because you're like, "I'm not gonna eat raw chicken." So then Eric is like, "Nah, I'm good." And then my man's like, "Can I get you something else? I feel bad." He's like, "Nah, I really don't want anything else." And then I was sitting there like acting like my mouth was full from chewing, because I didn't like my food either. But I was like, this is so good. And then the manager came over, which I was like, geez, at what point do you just let the L slide, right?
Let it go.
And then the manager came over. He's like, "There's nothing else I can get you." And then Eric was like, "It just tastes like it got cooked in the microwave." And then he was like, "Microwave?" Like it was either
taking it back. Like, no, not a microwave.
I couldn't tell if he was offended or caught. He was like, "Microwave? What? So ridiculous. We would never do that." You know what I mean? It was so then I said all that to say, that's the food that's been sitting since like last night into today, that I had to get rid of, and that's when we met.
Well, the issue too is that if you complain about it and you ask them for something else, and that's bad, now you're in a corner.
Well, that was the thing, is that that's what we talked about, because they were like, "You sure you don't want anything else?" And then they kept offering like chicken type items, and it's like, but the chicken is the problem.
That was the whole issue.
So it's like, I don't want more raw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we Eric looked up later, and they do have like a 1.9.
Oh, okay. So that explained it.
On Yelp. And so yeah, they've been doing people day. It's crazy a place like that is still open. Like I'm fine, because they at least got my bacon crispy.
Yeah.
But like I felt bad for Eric.
And you're accustomed to better food, especially that style of food. I always tell everybody, because in DC there's no Waffle Houses.
Yeah.
And I tell them, being from South, I'm actually from Atlanta.
Oh,
so I'm from North Atlanta.
Got you.
And I tell them, you got to go to Waffle House. That's the place to do it.
Yeah, Waffle House is great.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer food down south, soul food, or do you prefer this northern iteration of diners and whatnot?
I don't know if I have like a distinct favorite. I think like Waffle House is great, especially because like even when there's everyone, like the fights go viral for Waffle House. But sometimes it's just drama.
Yeah, oh yeah. They'll be fighting.
Sometimes it's a full on, like, who are you talking to? And then it's like two cooks just arguing. And it's pretty great.
Yeah.
And it adds to like the ambiance of the grits and everything. I don't know. Yeah, it's a very good question. I think that when I'm down, the further south I go, the more I like food that is, specifically from that place.
Sure.
Like if you're getting, barbecue in Memphis or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, and you can't always trust what the place is known for, because I don't know if you like it. I'm sorry if I'm about to just start trashing your favorite thing, but in Atlanta, there's a place called Varsity.
Yeah,
and Varsity is like not great. It's like it's weird that there are people that hold it up as this incredible. It's just the best ever. And it's like, I've been there, and it didn't even seem like the people there were having a good time.
Yeah.
Like nobody was biting into the burger like,
It kind of seemed like forced.
Yeah. And it was weird, because I was like, and then there was one person that was sitting next to my aunt, and I ate it, right?
Yeah.
And there was a lady sitting at a table next to us that turns to us and goes like, "Isn't it delicious?" It's like, who says that at a restaurant? Like, unless you're being paid.
Yeah, paid to be there.
It was very weird. It was like, we were like, oh, okay. I mean, I don't know you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then she leaned over. It's like, it's great, right?
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, It's
food.
it's here.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
I've actually never been to the varsity. My dad, for the same reason.
Yeah.
He has the same opinion as you. He's just like, there's no point in going.
It
It's not
really
that good.
isn't. It's
He's
not.
like, it's not that good.
It's not good at all. Like I don't even know how they're open.
They actually opened a new one.
That's
They just opened another
crazy.
location. Yeah.
That's
they-
the worst
they did.
news I've
They
heard
did.
today.
Yeah.
That's
terrible.
really wild.
I don't know how they
that
do
a
it either.
place that's not
Yeah.
good.
You know why I think people think that it's good?
Huh.
It's usually the spot that they hit after sporting events. And you're so
I guess if you've
been drinking
or if your
and
team won.
yeah, your team won, so you just
Yeah.
associate this positive. But also being from
Yeah.
Atlanta, you're used to watching the Falcons play, and I'm sure that you can't have positive associations with sports in Atlanta anymore. Because like you watch them lose real bad, and then you
Yeah.
go eat, and you're there eating mid food, kind of sad.
Yeah, you're only sad if you expect them to win. I think that a lot of teams that are not winning teams, they do you a real solid when they surprise you with a win. It's kind of like that kid, are you in college right now?
Yeah, I'm in college.
Oh,
now,
okay.
Yeah.
So I guess go back to high school because in
Okay.
high school it's like more of an everybody thing.
Sure.
In high school, you probably knew someone who was like, whether they're your friend or not, they're like the dumbest person you've ever met.
Sure.
And on the random day that they bring home like a B, that their parents are like, he turned it around.
Yeah. Yeah.
He really gonna be somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I see you cooking, young
Yeah.
king,
Yeah.
with these B's, right? 2 B's in a row. Oh my God, this is not our son,
Yeah.
right? But then, then he gets a couple of C's and some more D's, and they're like, it was nice while it lasted.
Yeah. In hindsight,
Yeah.
I should have done that. I should have taken that approach. I had a conversation with my parents a few years ago,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Yeah, when we had you, we kind of expected you to be dumb." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, yeah, like that's
Yeah.
great." They were like, "You're a good student now. We just didn't have that expectation." And it actually did the opposite. So now when I bring home like a C or a
Yeah.
B, they're like, "What are you doing? Like this isn't who we raised."
Why
And I was
would
like,
they
"What?"
tell you that? Yeah.
I don't remember how the conversation came
That's
up.
so
but,
insane that
but
they would
like,
tell
they
you
were like,
that.
"We're proud of you for being smart."
But then,
they,
yeah.
they utilized it against me. They're like, "If you
Yeah.
would have been dumb, we would have celebrated your A. But since you got a B and you're smart, now we're disappointed."
I mean, that is how life works, but that's
Sure.
a weird thing to tell you
Yeah.
this soon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because
yeah.
you're not done with grades
No,
yet.
you're not done. Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
well, they
when
stopped
you're,
caring.
Oh,
They stopped caring. They're like, all
fair
right,
enough.
he did the thing that he told us he was going to do. He's in college now, and
Okay.
that's about all they could ask for. So
Yeah, you tell somebody that after grade, like when
Yeah.
somebody's 23
Yeah.
and you know they're not going to get their master's,
Yeah.
that's when you're like, wow, we really thought you were going to be like, yeah, I mean,
like, all right,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely go into a very specific vocation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What drove you to go to Chicago? I've always wanted to go to Chicago. So
Yeah.
I'm in DC right now.
Okay.
But I wanted to go to U Chicago. I fell in love. I think I visited 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. And what I always tell people is that it kind of has this mix of like the New York big city vibes while
Mhm.
also maintaining kind of that southern hospitality where like everyone's not really yelling at you, they're not really angry. Kind of seems like
Yeah.
everyone's going about their thing in a more calm way. Would you say that's accurate? And what made you go to Chicago?
I mean, it's accurate except for the gun violence.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that-
yeah. Sure, yeah.
sure.
Besides that, yeah.
Yeah, besides that, and that's only in
Certain
specific
areas, yeah.
pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the thing that made me go there is that it's the only secondary market, so it's big enough to be in a big place and know what it's going to be like to do lots of shows
Mhm.
for lots of people, and
Yeah.
there's lots of theater and comedy there. And then also, like you said, it's still very small in the grand scheme of things. Like if
Mhm.
you're a big deal in Chicago, that may not mean anything when you go to LA
Mhm.
or anything. So it just felt like a great place to start, and the stakes are like pretty low, like overall, because there's not so much industry there that you have to worry about. Like I'm doing this show, and then
Yeah.
this casting director is going to be here. It's more like, what is interesting? What do I find funny? Who are the funniest people that I enjoy watching, that I want to be friends with and attach myself to? So that was the main reason that I went there.
So that was the reason.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a hindsight thing where you're like, oh, in hindsight, it was a good place to go to because of the fact that, it's smaller and whatnot. It was like, I'm going to go there because of this.
Well, I studied design in college, and
Okay.
so it was a matter of like, do I go to Chicago for lighting, or do I go to Chicago for comedy? And then that was my way of still not also having to make a decision. But then a lot of the stuff that I was being told about Chicago was from my professor who had lived in Chicago, and was acting and knew a lot of comedians, and so kind of had that same viewpoint. So if anything, I'm just repeating some of her talking points to me when I was like 20, 21, and thinking of moving.
Sure.
You
So
know?
how does that come about? Lighting,
Yeah.
stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
How do you get there making
No, they're not really
this
related
decision?
at all.
They're not. They're not.
I tried to come up with some like
Justification.
yeah, like some through line down the road, and it didn't really work. I was like, yeah, but like designing is like when you design things, it's kind of like writing a joke, and it doesn't really track. Like nothing, none of that was making any sense. I really liked. I'm just trying to find a way to not have to say I wasted a lot of money. You know,
Sure.
um,
Where'd you go to college?
Centenary College
Centenary, okay.
in Louisiana,
Gotcha.
and
So you moved to Chicago after school.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. And Louisiana is where you work these weird jobs that I keep hearing about.
yeah,
So one of them was, what was it? It was you picked pecans.
yeah. Did that
How?
for
How do
a
you
bunch of.
get into that? So you're doing design.
There's a specific instrument that helps you, like you slam it against the ground and it opens up to pick up the pecans, and then you. But it's not like work that I remember fondly.
How long did you do this for?
I did it off and on several times.
Okay,
Like
okay.
I did it. There were like 2 different summers that I did it,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know if I ever did it as like a man. Like I don't think I could say, you know what I mean? I couldn't say I was
I'm
grown
sure. Yeah.
and doing it
Yeah.
at any point. But yeah, I definitely did it when I was a kid a lot, and then sometimes I'd do it with someone, or sometimes there'd be other people already out there and
Mhm.
I'd be doing it. And yeah, yeah.
Would you go back and do it?
No,
No.
no. I mean, there are people that you meet.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that you meet when you do like odd jobs
Sure.
that are the type of people who probably will be doing a job like that for a long time,
Sure.
and it usually comes with a lot of baggage. It usually comes with
Mm.
like a really sad story,
Mm.
like just a really like things that are a bummer but wholly avoidable. You know what I mean?
Okay. Go on.
Where
Go on.
well, it's like, oh yeah, I would go get a job at whatever my skill is in, but there's like a warrant. So if they do a background check, it might flag the warrant. So let me just do this like odd job, cash pay thing.
For
And
the
then they
foreseeable
tell
future.
you that, and
Yeah.
then you're like, okay, but I'm here. Like
Yeah.
I work with you.
Mhm.
And what's the warrant for?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. That's fair.
and
That's fair. That
kind
wasn't
of
even
when
running through my head.
that's kind of
Yeah.
when you're like, all right, I should probably get out
Probably
of
find a
this
different job.
type of thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, worked in kitchens, worked in lots of different stuff.
What was your favorite and least favorite?
I mean, the restaurants that I've worked at were definitely my favorite overall.
Mm-hmm.
Out of jobs in Louisiana, and then least favorite was there was a guy. I don't remember if I was in high school. There was a guy who hired me to do like odd jobs around his house.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he just never had the tools necessary to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
So then I would have to you know what I mean? Like it's one thing if you want to somebody clean out gutters or something like
Yeah.
that, it's like even a broom handle would help.
Sure, yeah.
Like it would, but it was just things where he's like, I need you to do all this stuff, but I only have these things.
Uh-huh.
And I'm also paying you like a flat rate.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take as long as it's gonna take, but this is a $20 job. And it's just like, oh God, this is really bad.
That sounds bad.
Yeah. But it was like right before I was like saving up for college. So then I was like doing all this different stuff. And I think, yeah, I would definitely not go back. I don't know if I have it in me now.
I could see that.
Like I'm like you can see that I've become weak.
I could see how that transition would make sense and not wanting to go back. But I think that it would be interesting if you just like if you do a little go back to Louisiana, spend some time there on the pecan farm, picking pecans, do a little segment out of it. You get
I'm telling you, man, if you went back to where I'm from.
Where exactly in Louisiana are you from? Because it's not that far from Georgia.
Alexandria.
Alexandria.
Yeah,
Okay. We passed through Alexandria.
And it's like,
yeah.
did you stop?
we definitely have stopped in Louisiana many times before, and I can tell you, I'm again being from Atlanta, Louisiana is not my favorite, but
I mean, the thing about Alexandria is just there's so much. I think we're number 8 right now for like crime per capita, because it's just there's very little like opportunity and there's very
Sure.
little going on,
Yeah.
and it's just to hit those numbers, but not be a major city.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's rural, but it's still got that major city violence
Yeah, it's like at a certain point, everyone really is doing their part.
to make it
Yeah, I mean,
worse.
yeah, because it's like I guess I get it. Every place is gonna have crime and every place is gonna have
Sure.
criminals. But
Yeah.
if you have these numbers and you don't have the population to
Mhm.
back it up, that means that like almost everybody is doing crime at least on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's so much
So
crime.
it's just criminals robbing criminals. So everything.
At
You
a
think at
certain
some
point-
point you just rob your stuff back? Some guy robs you. You go. You rob his house, and you're like, hey, this was my
There's
TV.
probably some
There's got to be
form of
some
yeah.
type.
Eventually, you're like,
Get your stuff sold back to you.
oh my god, this is my wallet. It's crazy. You're definitely not the guy that took it. Yeah.
No, yeah.
No, it is rough, and I've gone back a few times,
Mhm.
like, and when I go back, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I could make like a living, here or
Sure,
anything.
Sure.
Um,
When you first moved out, what was your family's reaction? Were they supportive? Were they a little scared? Because I know, I don't know if what your background is. I'm first generation in terms of like going to college, moving away from parents. Usually like Hispanic kids, they like stay with their parents till like
Yeah,
mid-20s, work
sure.
with them. But I left like right at 18.
Yeah.
Moved on my own, did my own thing. Were they supportive, scared? What
I
was
think
the general
I mean
consensus?
it was a little bit of both. I
Uh-huh.
think they were definitely scared because I
Uh-huh.
was moving on my own further than people in the family had moved. Like most people stayed within the state or went to Texas or something. And then I think very supportive overall. They were like, if you want to try this, if you want to go ahead and go do it, go do it.
Yeah.
But are you an only child?
So I have a 10-year age gap between me and my sister. So
Is it just the two of you?
It's just the two of us. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just the two of us. So
Yeah.
it's been interesting because they were distracted enough
Yeah.
with her. So like anything once I moved out, it was like, okay, they got to pay attention to her. So they weren't too.
Oh, she's younger than you.
She's younger. Yeah, she's 10 years younger.
Gotcha,
10 years
gotcha.
younger.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
Take on her responsibilities, whatever. Kind of let me go do my own thing, and it was the same thing. They're a mixture of being scared and being supportive, but
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
as a whole they've been proud. They're a little bit confused about this whole like podcasting thing though. They're like, is that like news or like what are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
They just
I
don't
mean,
get it yet.
I mean, this one might not be the one to watch if you're trying to explain to them what it is.
I keep telling them just don't watch any of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I just keep telling them like
I
you
get
know just know that I do it and that's about it. Because I feel like when they watch any of it, and I don't know if you experience the same thing. They'll like call and they got suggestions. They always have suggestions. Family always has suggestions.
Yes, family.
And they're always like, hey, it would
is
be better
sure that they can help.
if you did this. And you're like, that's not how that works. And you can't do that.
Yeah.
Does that happen in comedy? You got like an uncle or a cousin
Easily.
that's kind of
where
just
they're like, why don't you just do SNL?
Yes.
like-
It's the same thing. My mom was like, why are you
Fine.
doing a podcast? Why don't you go work in like Congress? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds.
That's more wrong though.
No,
like,
no.
That's crazy.
No, I
like
agree.
at least SNL to stand up is both comedy.
Yeah.
What she's telling you
Yeah,
to
it's
do
complete opposite. It's
is
like because
so-
I have a podcast, I shouldn't be allowed to work in Congress. I feel like
that well, it's not even that. It's just like Congress is like a whole
other path.
yeah. Like that would
Yeah.
that's just suggesting
Yeah.
you do something different.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah.
even helpful.
No, it's not helpful at all. But she's like, you're in
Yeah.
DC. Like, why wouldn't you go do that?
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
so that's how she makes that connection. But
That's
For
funny.
me, it doesn't
That's
work.
very funny.
Yeah.
It's like, but you live there. I'm sure they give everybody
Yeah,
a turn.
everyone gets a job. Yeah. at
Why
some
doesn't
point.
everybody just have a turn being a senator?
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
fair
she,
enough.
She doesn't fully understand that's not how
Okay.
it works. How does your family end up in Atlanta? Because I know that you have a lot of family in Atlanta.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
just moving.
Yeah, just moving?
general
Just moving.
moving. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't even know if a real plan came together. It was more
Okay.
just like visiting, then liking it, then moving there,
Mm.
which is much better. The flights are way easier
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Like the flight to
yeah.
get home used to be at least a connection and then
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. Hartsfield Jackson's
That's
nice too. It's a good airport. They do
Yeah.
everything pretty quickly.
It's
Coming in and
huge.
out of it's massive and it's always super busy.
Yeah, but they do close the TS. Like at a certain point, you have to wonder what you're paying for, because they'll close TSA pre-check and they'll close clear
Yep.
after like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
But flights will go till like red eye time.
Yes. Yeah.
So then you're like,
Yeah. I've had the same issue. This is
Yeah.
such a niche issue. I feel like
I'm
to
like,
have.
yeah.
When clear closes, I'm like, oh, what am I paying
Yeah.
for? This makes no sense.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like why don't you go home after the last flight? I don't know.
And now they have Clear Plus,
Yeah,
which upset me a little bit. 'Cause
this
it's like,
this is what happens though. They're gonna keep doing this.
oh
If-
no, they will.
I wish it was just and not even saying I would have been able to afford it, but if they would have just made an easy airport trip $1,000, you'd at least know, okay, this is a threshold where no one's coming for me
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because TSA pre-check is like $85,
Mm-hmm.
you mean to tell me for $85 over 5 years, by the way, for $85 I couldn't possibly be a terrorist?
Yeah.
That's the crazy, because you know what terrorists never have is money. They never have funding. Do you know what I mean? So it's so wild to think that they're like, all right, $85, because nobody has that.
Nobody has that.
We all know that plane tickets are $12. No one's gonna have an extra 85. And so then after a while, TSA is flooded, like
Yeah.
pre-check is just
Yeah.
flooded, and there's no point to get. So
No.
then they add Clear. They have Clear come in and take your fingerprint and your eye print
Your
and
biometrics.
it's like whatever
Everything.
biometric thing.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
sure a satellite can laser
No,
you in the
it
back
was
of the
crazy.
head.
When I went to go sign up for Clear,
Yeah.
they scan my biometrics,
Yeah,
scan my thumbs, and then a question about where my mom was born pops up.
yeah, yeah.
And it's just like, what? Like, how did...
And then they're like, "How much do you love your sister?" It's like, jeez, I just want to get into the thing.
Yeah.
And then you look at Clear. I think Clear, I could be wrong, but I think Clear is like 150 for 2 years. So now you still haven't like broken like $400, $500.
Yeah.
And this is over the course of years. So it's like, I'm not saying it's super cheap, but people have that money that fly
Sure.
a lot, right?
I just don't think that's going to be a barrier.
Yeah, it's not a barrier,
Yeah.
because then
Yeah.
everyone has pre-check, and then like pre-check's flooded, so
Yeah.
everybody gets Clear. Now Clear and
Yep.
pre-check are flooded. There are some airports where you can, if you have both, that's another third line. And
Really?
so yeah, so there's Clear pre-check now,
Mm.
but that's still not enough, because
Yeah.
if you have both those things, you get
Yeah,
to go
you get
that
to go
line.
that line,
So
yeah.
then they have Clear Plus or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So it's at a certain
Yeah.
point, just tell me it's $1,000.
Yeah,
And just take my money,
exactly.
and then I'll
Just be honest.
yeah.
Just be honest.
Because that's where we're working towards. Everyone is just spending and spending and spending to get,
More, yeah.
and it's also like, just make the whole thing like suck less,
Yeah,
and you won't need to do any of it.
yeah. No, exactly.
Like we're
Exactly.
still taking off our shoes.
Yes, yeah. Still taking off our shoes, taking out large electronics. It's every time
Yeah.
too. I always remember. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put my laptop in this bag.
Yeah.
And then it's just something else. It's always like, oh, you forgot to take out your iPad or your camera or some other thing, and you got to go do the whole thing again.
Yeah, do the whole thing again, and then they also tell you I should after like 200 flights, I think that's enough. I think clearly I like going the places I go, and I don't want to blow
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would
like
think
travel.
that, yeah, like after 250 flights, clearly I don't want to die.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm flying a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So then just don't make me take the thing out of the bag. Just like something.
Yeah.
And after 500 flights, clearly this person is busy.
Sure.
So
yeah.
maybe not take the shoes off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because they do it to everybody. Even like a baby. They make the baby go through the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a baby. I'm not even talking about a child that can walk. It's a baby.
Yeah.
And they're like, that whole baby could be a bomb.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
So put the whole baby through.
Yeah. They got the baby
Make
with
it
like
walk through,
the
yeah.
bomb powder, checking its little hand.
They got to be still in the thing, and they're like, be still.
Don't sit down. You have to stand
Yeah,
up.
and it's crying. It's like, all right. Crying won't get you out of it. You're still gonna stand up in the thing.
Interrogated for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just, I don't know. It's like, why make it suck? I feel like that's most things. You have to pay for premium, but
Yeah.
then the thing shouldn't suck.
Did you hear that BMW is doing that with their, or they were planning on it with like their seat warmers? So like now your car comes with the seat warmers, right? You buy the package, and then you gotta pay like $8 a month to actually have them activated in your car.
Yeah, okay. So I've actually talked about this before because they did the same thing. A lot of people think that the Teslas come with the self-driving, but the self-driving is a like thing you can add.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like pay $4,000 and it adds self-driving, and it lets you do a trial of self-driving for free.
Oh, okay. So you gotta repay it. It's a subscription service.
I don't know. I mean,
Oh, okay,
I just
gotcha.
know about they give you a free trial of self-driving for
Mhm.
like 2 weeks or something, and then after that it's $4,000. At a certain point, you've either sold me a car or you haven't sold me a car.
Yeah.
Like you can't just keep for every novelty thing be like left wheel only works for $3.99 a month.
Yeah.
Is just it's too much. Like people used to make a thing and then try to sell it and
Yeah.
then that was enough.
Yeah.
And now it's like, because it's not as if the car's gonna last you your whole life. So if the car's not gonna last you for your whole life, what's the point in paying a subscription
Yeah.
for the, you know what I mean?
Well, it's also already there. That's the thing that I
Yeah.
think bothers me a little bit more. It's like the seat warmers are in your
Yes,
car.
yes, that's what's
They
crazy.
could turn on, but we have them deactivated because you forgot to pay for your seat warmers last month.
That is, yeah.
They're there.
You're not wrong.
They're not adding anything else to the vehicle. It's not like
Do you put this on YouTube?
We put this on. Yeah, we put this on YouTube.
Okay, so
on
you'll have to bleep
Spotify
this
and
out, but
everything.
I think you're right. We should kill them. We
Yeah,
should we should kill all of them.
The executives.
Yeah, easily,
okay,
easily. I mean,
okay,
bleep
yeah.
it out
No, no,
because
for
you'll
sure.
get flagged.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I said kill.
Yeah.
And I was talking about very specific people.
Yeah.
But like you maybe.
Maybe that's the solution.
I think you body them. Yeah, I think you.
What's the way though? How do you go about it?
With a car.
Okay.
Yeah, you hit them with the car.
Do you do like one of those collision tests thing, and you're like, all right, no more test dummies. It's just
No, you hit them
straight on. With
they're outside of the car, and
Okay.
you run them over.
Okay.
With like the seat warmers on.
With
Yeah. Easily. What kind of sick bastard? What kind of sick bastard is like maybe the air conditioning.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do $5.99.
Yeah. For the
a
airbags
month
as well.
for the
airbags only
airbags.
work if you pay $8 a
That's
month.
chaos.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I had heard about I think I had heard about the seat warmer,
Yeah.
but I don't know. The fact that this is like spreading.
Yeah, and Netflix is doing it now too. It's everything. I feel like every subscription service. Like,
Yeah.
Like now, I remember I tried
Yeah.
signing on Netflix like in my dorm,
Yeah.
and it was just like, yeah, you're not at home, so you can't watch Netflix right now.
Oh, and your home is where?
Yeah.
Atlanta?
Yes, home's Atlanta. So
and you've gone across state lines.
Yes.
And so they're
so they know
Yeah.
know if you're not at home,
like
if
a
you're
mini
traveling.
government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can get around it by opening it on your laptop, which is kind of annoying.
Or like a VPN, right?
Yeah.
Can't
there's
you do a
so many-
VPN?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Well, it's harder on the TV. You can't really throw a VPN on the TV. At that point, you might as well just use
Oh,
your laptop.
yeah. You might.
But they ban it on the TV. It's just annoying. It's just every subscription service
That's
is just
crazy.
getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And there's
We really only need to kill like one. If we kill one
Uh-huh.
and we're like, this is why we did it. Do you know what I mean? Because this is the
Sure.
thing. A lot of people kill people and then they just get arrested and they don't really talk. So then they just seem crazy.
yeah.
You know? But if you're like, look, I shot him because he made the airbags an extra $300.
Mm.
And if they're doing stuff like that, we got to kill. So
Well-
if you run a subscription service and you make it suck, we're coming.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of many.
Yeah. Well, at
It's
some
not
point
just
the
me.
jury becomes empathetic, right?
Yeah.
At some point
yeah.
the jury's like, oh yeah, no, that's reasonable. You're
Yeah,
definitely
I
gonna
do
say-
have to pay $3.99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get back in their car, driving back to the hotel where they're being sequestered for
Easily.
this trial, and they're like, dude, this is ridiculous. My
Yeah.
seat warmers aren't working. I forgot to pay them last month.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then they're pissed. And now you got the jury on your side.
I mean, it's honestly the only way to heal America.
You think so? What's your 3-step solution to heal America right now? If you could do 3 things, change the country, what would it be?
I mean,
Right now, you're dictator
you're
Josh
not
Johnson.
you're not gonna be able to use most of this, but it's gonna be it's mainly. I think that there are people who what's the best way to put this? Okay, so if you're a poor person
Mhm.
and let's say you have various mental health issues or
Yeah.
something, and you haul off one day and in one of your delusions you like kill a person, right?
Mhm.
There are a lot of states that won't really give any deference to the fact that you have your own
Mental health
like
issues, yeah.
mental health issues, and they'll be like, you killed someone, you're a killer, so we as the state see you as unfit to live in society,
Mhm.
also unfit to be any form of member of society, so
Yeah.
we're going to kill you, right?
Yeah.
And that all makes sense to us. Like a lot of people don't agree with it or think it's right, but a lot of people, it makes sense to us in general of like, this is a person who kills, so if they're not around to kill, that's not bad.
Yeah. There's a logical path.
There's a logical pathway there. But somehow, if you're like a CEO and you own any company that, let's say, dumps water into the water supply of like an actual town, right?
CEO of BP.
Yeah, CEO of BP, or you do that whole train system that is
Yeah.
that spilled over.
Northern Rail in
Was it?
Atlanta. It was out of Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's
Yeah.
like in those scenarios, you are responsible for your shareholders. You're responsible to somewhat the community that you put your
Yeah.
headquarters in or anything like that. And then if you knowingly poison all those people and make their lives worse or kill them by virtue of like poisoning them,
Yeah.
we look at that and go, I mean, you should be punished, but like I guess what could really be done?
Yeah.
But it's like in this scenario, someone passively killed a bunch of people
Yeah.
or ruined their
Yeah.
lives,
Yeah.
and then the other person directly killed,
Yes.
a
Yeah.
few people.
Yeah.
So I think that I once again, this is not usable, but like I think that there has to be like such harsh punishments, like in a way that feels egregious, like for every person who you've poisoned in a community where you've ruined their water supply, right? So you go to like Ohio,
Yeah.
like
Flint, Palestine.
yeah,
East
Flint,
Palestine.
East Palestine.
Yeah.
It's like per person, I think you should get 10 years. I think that the people that work at that company should be in jail for the rest of their lives, and not even in a way that's like up for discussion. I think legitimately, it's like, well, you had some responsibility to at least not kill all these people. And we don't know the effects of everything that you've done because the people in that community had to get like blood and urine tests and everything because it's not like the company was going to pay for it.
Yeah.
We don't want any evidence that we've ruined you for life. And so I think that one thing is like just immense, like radical accountability in a way that does seem crazy to us because we've been conditioned that a company is somehow a person, like a company has personhood when it comes to taxes, but a company does not have personhood when it comes to responsibility. And then people are allowed to, sort of like dip out, towards the rumblings of a lawsuit and stuff like that. So I think that level of like radical accountability, which we know is functional because there are places like in Europe that have that we reap the benefits from. So I know that everybody complains about it and it's very annoying that like Apple is once again changing the chargers, but they're supposedly changing the chargers because this should be the last time they change the chargers because Europe was actually the one that was like, guys, you're fucking us with these chargers. It's like every 2 years we got a different shape. This is crazy. It's triangle, then it's square, then it's circle. We want one charger or you don't get to be here. And then Apple was like, all right, fair enough. And then they made it, universal. And I think that we forget that as the richest nation and one of the most influential and powerful nations, that we could do that same thing. But we have a lot of representatives that don't hold anybody accountable in that way because of lobbying and that they're sort of not like bought and paid for in some weird Illuminati way, but just functionally.
No,
it's
straight
like
up.
they want to.
Citizens United literally said we're going to be able to purchase politicians.
And so I think that yes, you have this like radical accountability for every private business, and I think then that helps level out some of what they're going to try to get away with, and then two, the same way that they're supposed to be. I know it's not really existing right now in the way that we write laws and in the way that we govern, but there's supposed to be a separation of church and state. I think that there should definitely be like a separation of church and, I mean, not church, of state and commerce, to where it's insane that people can leave government and go to the private sector and vice versa and flip back and forth and somehow act like that has no bearing on the decisions they make when they're representatives. So then I think you have to choose. I think you would just choose, hey, I'm going to be in government, and if I'm going to make this my job in whatever way, I'm going to be in government for 40 years, then I'm not going to be at Goldman Sachs ever. Like it's just not an option. It's just never going to happen. And then I don't know. I think like free school lunch would be good.
Free school
like,
lunch would be good.
Yeah. So like that's a.
But it also has to be good
one.
School lunch. It's been.
Yeah. I mean, this is my thing. Yes, it should be good, but when you look at dudes in prison. When you look at dudes in prison, they're not being fed the best food, but they get so torn. And clearly, I don't know. I'm not saying the kids will all get ripped, but like, clearly
the food's doing something.
The food's doing something.
Food's doing something.
You know what I mean?
They're hitting their macro minimums and all that.
Yeah. I know that every kid's not trying to bulk up, but if we're making the lunch free, I think if it at least has the nutrients, it might look like that stuff from the Matrix, but at least it is going to give you everything you like actually need so that you can focus and stuff. And I know you said 3, but like school should also be later. Like I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know why we do this thing where
Yeah.
it's like 5, 6, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
that people are getting up and like bus drivers have. It's like just make the whole thing late because
Yeah.
this is my thing. Your parents are usually working 9 to 5,
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of insane that school is from like 7 to 3
Yeah.
because then you need after school programs, you need all this stuff. Whereas if you just made school like closer to 8:30, I know this just doesn't work for a lot of people, but
Yeah.
like you if you made school closer to 8:30, in an ideal world, your parents could drop you off, go to work, and by the time they're about done with work, you've only been out of school for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's enough time for them to like pick you up or
Yeah.
you to hang out with
Yeah.
your friends before they pick
Yeah.
you up.
Yeah.
This whole thing of offsetting it feels so weird because it
Yeah.
makes it makes everyone bad at everything. Because kids need sleep,
Mm-hmm.
so then they have to get up at like 6 or
Yeah.
7
Yeah.
sometimes to get to school.
Yeah.
The parents have to get up maybe even at the same time or before the kid, and then they have to go to work.
Yeah.
So then it's just everyone's
Yeah.
getting these like 13-hour days.
Yeah.
Feels like a lot.
And it also changes. Like
Yeah.
like when you're younger, I think it starts earlier, then it goes to starting later, then it goes back to starting earlier.
Yeah.
And they just do this whole weird thing. I agree with you. I
Yeah.
think it should just be later in the day. And public
God.
transportation would help with that too. That's
Yeah.
the other thing. I think that's number one for the US right now.
Like, what's your earliest class?
my earliest goal? I got to pick my schedule. So I have an
okay.
11:15 my earliest.
All right.
So
Are you a senior?
That's nice. No, not
Oh,
a senior.
okay.
No.
Because like, yeah, I think my earliest class when I was in college was like 10.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah,
That's not
it's
bad.
not bad at
No,
all.
11:15 is perfect because I can
Yeah.
like the way I look at it. I go to bed at 1 a.m., wake up at 9, and I've had 8 hours of sleep, and
Yeah.
I'm up 2 hours before my first class.
And like
So-
you said, the public transportation is also
Yeah,
huge. I
that's
mean,
a huge part.
that to me is like, I don't know, maybe a bigger part of like carbon footprint stuff than anything. Like, I just wish part of what they did was brilliant because the straws suck so bad that it does make me care and make me want to fix that. Like the straws are so only the devil would have done this. Do you know what I mean? The straws are actually so bad. I'm like, what can we do?
Are the carbon ones or the paper ones worse? Which ones? Or the cardboard? You know what I'm talking about? How they have the cardboard ones? and
The
they have
cardboard
actual-
one is bad,
Okay.
but that is like, by the time you get done with the cardboard,
Mhm.
like when you're at the bottom of the smoothie or whatever, it's a little too much like making out with somebody with like a little mouth. You know what I mean? It's really gross.
Yeah.
But the paper one actually disintegrates. Like the paper
Yeah,
one
you're
is
drinking
actually
the
like
paper
in
by
my
then.
throat.
Yeah.
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 And so, yeah, that does make me like I would have never cared about Kylie Jenner's jet trips
Mm.
until the straws came out.
Mm.
So it's almost like the straws are like an invention of Greta.
Yeah.
That she was
Greta
like,
invented
yeah,
them. Yeah.
easily. Like I could see a 9-year-old Greta being like, "What will make the world care?" And then she made the paper straw because she
Yeah.
was like, "No one will enjoy anything. You won't enjoy water because your water won't taste like water.
Mhm.
It'll taste like paper and ass.
Yeah.
And then your drinks won't taste like your drinks. And if a smoothie is thick, it's done.
It's not gonna work.
It's
Yeah,
not gonna work at
'Cause then
all.
also it collapses in the middle sometimes. Does that
Yeah.
happen to you where you're trying to get the smoothie out and it just
Yeah,
collapses
or
in the
you
middle?
accidentally bite it,
Mm.
and if you bite it, you might as well eat that
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
top
Eat
part.
the whole section. Yeah.
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 Or bite it off.
Isn't it kind of ridiculous in hindsight? Because I haven't thought about Greta Thunberg in
Yeah.
so long that we just like kind of let like a 9-year-old, 8-year-old girl like just be the advocate for climate justice while like politicians are just kind of screwing around, messing about.
I mean, she waited, until she was like 15 to like really
To
step
pop
up.
off.
Yeah.
I guess that's
I don't
better.
know what she was doing when she was 9. That's,
She was prepping.
Yeah.
She was getting ready.
yeah, learning to sail. I don't know. I feel like,
But I
Yeah.
feel like it's weird that we just like as a society glance over that. We're just like, oh yeah, look at this 15-year-old like leading the change.
yeah, but I don't know. Most people don't want to do things. I don't want to do most things.
That's fair.
Like even today, I really almost didn't get up. I was really about to just let y'all come here and this be the first thing I did today. And then I was like, nah, I really should eat something of quality.
Sure,
And so
yeah.
then we went out
Yeah.
and got some food and did the airsoft thing
Yeah.
along the way. But yeah, no, I do think that part of it is that. Part of it is like what do you want to like? What's your dream? What do you want to do? Like, and I'm
Okay, you're
asking,
asking me.
yeah, asking you.
Oh man, you know what? I really would like to do this for a long time. There's something about
Yeah.
so I started doing like podcasts and whatnot like 3-4 years ago after the death of George Floyd. So
Yeah.
in high school, I'd always talk to my friends, and you know how you have those conversations with your buddies where you're like, dude, we should be recording this. Like we should upload this. Like people would love this. And we had those conversations, just never really came into fruition.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic happens, we're isolated, whatnot, and I'm like, yo, we're having these conversations anyway. We were calling each other up, talking about it. Let's just record it. Let's have it.
Yeah.
And so we recorded it, uploaded it, and it's something that I've really appreciated. I think like as humans,
Yeah.
the number one gift that we can give to another person is a conversation, is this experience, is this knowledge of like, this is how I've lived my life, this is how I view the world through my perspective. These are the shoes that I've walked in that you'll never be able to walk to or walk through, but I can tell you what it's like.
Yeah. So you want to do interviews, and you want to like is it like some form of journalism, or mostly
You know Anthony
interviews?
Bourdain?
Yeah,
You know how
yeah,
you would go to like parts unknown, meet these cultures, experience them, see how they live?
yeah.
That would be my dream job.
Gotcha.
Just
So
going and
if that is your dream, it's so it from what's gonna cross over has like nothing to do with sailing and raising awareness about climate change, that it's like, yeah, I think we'll just let Greta do. Yeah, I mean, like
we'll
that,
let Greta take care of
that's
it.
kind of where I think
Yeah.
people come from.
Yeah.
Where it's like this is almost no one's dream except a climate activist,
Mm.
and then most climate activists are making the case on behalf of the human population.
Yeah.
Because the actual Earth doesn't care.
Sure, yeah.
Like-
the actual
like-
Earth is going to be fine.
Yeah, the actual Earth is going to be fine. The animals we kill will not.
Yeah, and us.
We're destroying a lot of wildlife.
Yeah.
Wildlife we've never even met, and
Yeah.
we're like choking the
Yeah.
life right out of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I talked to, when I was in DC, I talked to like a lobbyist for climate change,
Mhm.
and like getting new legislation passed, and like working with the EPA and stuff. And I was like, this only matters for us, right? And she was like, yeah, like if we all, it honestly, if we all died, that'd probably be better for the Earth at large.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you saw it during COVID.
Mhm.
It really took 2 months of a lockdown for the Earth to have a glow up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you saw, but like Delhi without smog is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, my girlfriend's an environmental science major, and that's what she tells me too. She's like, I'm so sad that like the Earth is being destroyed, but what gives me peace of mind is knowing that once we destroy it, the only thing that's going to be destroyed is us. And the environment that we live in, the Earth is going to be fine. It's going to keep being itself. And then
really, almost like a beautiful karmic solution. I mean, where we all just sort of perish because we have it coming.
Yeah, no, I mean, and we're really doing it.
Isn't that the dream? Isn't that really sweet?
Yeah, and you know that's also the idea of like doing this show. I feel like you get to put a spotlight on so many cool people that have the perspective that you have, because I feel like the vast majority of people, especially younger people, do have this idea of like, yo, we're really messing up the planet. Like even when I talk, I'm obviously from Forsyth County. Like I grew up. The city that I'm from, I'm sure you'll get a kick out of this. It's called Cumming. I'm from the city of Cumming. Cumming. Born and raised.
Like the poet. Like Cummings? Like
nope, just Cumming, not an S at the end. It's just Cumming.
That's wild.
Yeah, they try to change it. They try to change it every single year, but there are a lot of conservatives there.
Who wants to keep it?
Conservatives. They love the historic.
That's wild.
They love the historic part.
And is it a guy?
Yeah, it was a guy. It was the founder of the city. Yeah, and we have a huge water tower when you're driving into the city.
Was he like a good guy or something?
Probably not. No.
Oh,
Definitely not. But we have a huge water tower when you're coming into the city. It says "I love Cumming."
Yeah.
So it's just get a kick every single time that I'm back home. But but there's a lot of conservatives there, and they all have the same position too. Like I remember my friend, he goes to Duke, he comes back. First time that we've seen each other since we go off to college, he comes up to me and he's like, again, super conservative when he left. He comes back and he's like, we're messing up the planet and I'm scared.
Yeah.
And that's all that he said to me. He was like, I actually took like a class on what's going on in the environment.
Yeah.
And we have like 20 years to figure it out. And I was like, I've been trying to tell you guys.
Yeah. Sounds like 20 years to get rich.
Yeah, right? 20 years
That's
to make
it.
us.
Yeah, 20 years to ball out.
Yeah.
All right. If you don't do it before then you should have worked harder to fix the other thing.
Absolutely.
But if you can get rich,
do it now.
Then do it now.
Do it now. You got 20 years.
Okay. Yeah, fair. I mean, fair enough.
So that's
I
part of
didn't
it,
need
too.
20 years actually seemed kind of like
Long.
long.
That's what I've been saying too. Because
When did he say this?
I go, this was what, a year ago?
Oh, so 19
So
years.
19 years.
Okay.
So we got 19 years left. And I've been saying the same thing. We got like 20 years honestly left to know if we're gonna make it or not.
Yeah. I mean, because how old are you?
I am 19.
You're 19.
Yeah.
How old are y'all? Are y'all 19?
20. Yeah.
Everybody's 19?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You have just enough time to like
To actually
right when you feel old. Isn't that I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of dope.
Yeah.
Like right when y'all's knees get bad.
Yeah.
The planet's gonna be kind of done.
It's gonna be terrible. Yeah.
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 You might not even mind.
Mm-mm.
You know
Probably
what I mean?
not.
You're gonna look in a mirror one day and be like, oh,
yeah.
Oh, my face.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
And then boom.
Yeah. 100%. Well, you know,
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of dope.
No,
that's
I think so too. We check out right at the perfect time. Everyone checks out. We're all good.
Yeah.
But you know, the bad thing is that like with all the chemicals in the water, everything in the air, it's not gonna be the knees that are bad. We're gonna be like wheezing on our way out. We're gonna be like, oh, the planet's collapsing.
Yeah, that's true. That
everyone has asthma now.
I didn't think about that part.
Everyone has asthma now. I don't know if I don't know. Everyone in my generation, I feel like at least half of us, we just all have asthma.
Do y'all have asthma?
Anyone else here? No. Lungs are terrible. Asthma. You good?
Yeah.
Good.
But are your lungs bad from like a vape, or are they bad from?
Hers have always been bad. For the three of us, they're bad from everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Got you.
I heard though that you don't smoke or drink. Is there a story behind this? Is this just always?
No. It would be more interesting if I had a problem.
Sure.
Yeah. It'd actually be pretty dope if I was like, yeah, you know, I was pretty wild back in the, but nah, it's just.
You just never have, never got an interest for it.
I think that my interest was always like stunted by the fact that I was like terrified of getting caught or in trouble or and then once I could legally do it, I was more like, oh yeah, but I don't know, I don't want to feel sick. And then it became about me not doing it led to no opportunity to smoke or drink because then everyone was counting on me not to do it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like even when I was in college, it'd be like, oh, Josh will walk you back.
He's not drinking.
Yeah, and I was like,
yeah, you were saying.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
There was one time where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm 22. I'm gonna have my first drink. I was like outside of a fraternity house, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go in there because it was a drink that everyone loved. That apparently was like a smooth drunk. It wasn't like a
okay, gotcha.
It wasn't like a heavy or
gotcha.
you know what I mean.
Sure.
And so they had brought it, and I think it was like a peach. But like mixed in with real peaches, like a peach sake or something like that.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be such a smooth experience, so that way you weren't like over drinking and you weren't getting like, you know, hangover the next day or whatever.
Sure.
And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm having my first drink, and I turned around to walk back in the fraternity house, and right as I was about to walk back in, this kid like fell off the roof in front of me,
Gotcha.
and the roof is like pretty low. So he fell like 8 feet.
Okay.
Like it's like it wasn't enough to kill him,
Sure,
but it was like it was just like a woof. Like he just whooshed in front of me, and I was like, maybe never mind.
Maybe that's not a good idea.
No,
and then you got deterred, and that was it.
Yeah, that was really it.
Yeah.
That was the last time where I was like,
you can.
Yeah, maybe. And now I just I don't know. I feel like it'd be too prone to a hangover now.
So you found you escaped the window.
I think I missed it. Yeah, I think I really missed it.
Yeah.
And obviously, from the type of hotel rooms I'm getting, I shouldn't be bawling out uncontrollably drinking. You know, the only thing that is rougher than this hotel room would be being drunk in this hotel room. This is not great.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's helped you in any way? Do you think like it's benefited you, giving you more time to either with your comedy or?
Yeah, I think I've been able to maintain more focus, and I think I've been extra attentive with the things that like being pointed towards my goals and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper not to. It's cheaper to not have to like buy drinks and stuff.
I can imagine.
The markup is crazy. I can't believe anybody buys drinks outside of like at a grocery store or liquor store.
Sure. Yeah. No. I wanted to ask you, speaking of this focus and, you know, focusing on your career and whatnot, something new that you're doing is you're doing you're on Disney Channel's new series Kiff, correct? The animated series. You've been You've been doing some voiceovers for that. How's that been? How'd you get into that?
I mean, I've been trying to get into voiceover for a while, but they asked me to do it, and I was definitely keen because I think it's a funny show
Sure.
and everything. And then it's been great. It's been great to get that experience learning
Mm-hmm.
from them and everything.
Mm-hmm.
As every time I get to work with them, I feel like I learn a little something new about process or about
Sure.
like um, doing voice acting for
Yeah.
a specific character. So
Yeah.
I've been very excited to do it, and I'm hoping to do much more of it in the future.
Sure. Yeah. Is that
Yeah.
the next place that you want to take it? Kind of acting, this like voice acting kind of sector? Or are you just trying to do everything at once, or do you have anything
Try
in
to do as
mind?
many
Where?
things
Yeah.
as possible.
Yeah.
I just real quick. This is once again maybe not even usable, but like, did this camera die? Is that why the okay? Got you. Because I think this room will look sadder on iPhone.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, for
this
sure.
is
It
oh
died?
this is a
Really?
oh,
It was fully charged. Don't we have another battery? We should have a backup battery.
We do, but it might be somewhere.
That's insane. It was 100% charge.
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I saw it ticking down the whole time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, no, it's not a big deal. I'm just saying like, oof, this
Yeah.
on iPhone
Yeah,
is gonna be
it's gonna get tough.
it's
But
gonna be rough
we'll
because
work
you
on it.
cannot you can't not see
I
these
think
these wrinkled curtains.
it
You know what I
adds to
mean?
it though. It's cozy. It's
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it adds to the
I'd like to
environment.
say that this is gonna be me at my lowest, and then the next time I see you, I'll be, you know, really balling out. But I don't know.
You're also, speaking of the next time, you're also doing this. I don't know the full details of it. Your manager was talking to us about it. You do this comedy show in New York where you feature new comedians. Is this right?
Yeah. Wait, before I say yeah, I want to make sure that we're talking about me.
Okay.
So it's a show where I feature new comics.
Or you feature comedians in some capacity. It takes place in a brewery down in New York.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. They're not necessarily new. No,
Sure.
no. I do ambush comedy
Okay, that's what it's
on
called.
Wednesdays
Okay.
with
Yes, yes,
with
yes.
my friends, and we
Awesome.
invite comics to do the show and everything. And
Okay.
it's at Ebbs right now,
Mm.
Ebbs Brewing, and it's a great show. I
Yeah.
really love it. We've been doing it for years now. It used to be at a Two Boots Pizza
Yes.
that is like, you know,
Yeah.
a block away. And so that's been fun. Yeah.
How'd you get into that?
I got asked to help produce it. The show had
Mm.
already been going on for
Okay,
years
okay.
before I came along.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that. I think it's March 13th. We're planning on attending that too.
Oh, okay. I hope that's
yeah.
a good one. I hope
Yeah.
that I can really redeem the aesthetic because goddamn, this is rough. I really should have come to you. This is I don't even know where
no,
you were gonna shoot,
You
but
really,
like
you really
this
helped
is-
us out. We were gonna have to figure it out last minute, or
Oh my
wherever we would.
God.
Either way,
I-
you know, the conversation's happening. And
If you're happy,
that's the
I'm
most important
happy,
thing.
but, like-
what is there to not be happy about? This is perfect. I mean, you know,
No, no.
microphones are working, cameras dead, but we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
We're making it through.
Yeah.
Working for the Daily Show.
Uh-huh.
Daily Show was kind of one of these things that did get me into politics when I was younger.
Yeah.
I had this weird phase. I think that a lot of people in my generation did.
Yeah.
We were like 12, 13, 14, 15 on the internet,
Uh-huh.
and you just get shoved down this conservative pipeline.
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
all that's on my page is you know, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, and I think that I'm like this new, edgy, free-thinking individual. And then I turn like 15 and I'm like, wow, I was really an idiot that just hated a lot of people. Discover the Daily Show. And at this point, I think Trevor Noah has just started it. It's 2016, maybe
Yeah.
2015.
2015.
And I really start to enjoy that style. I think that what has been interesting about the Daily Show in comparison to other late night talk shows that kind of do the politics thing, is that it's kind of been a little bit more progressive historically. Would you say that that's fair, or how would you characterize it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. I think that makes sense. I definitely I don't know how I would categorize it, but I know that people with more of a conservative bend like it less.
Mhm.
So then maybe that makes it more progressive, but yeah. I think it depends on who you ask.
And what's that? How did you get there? So you started at the Tonight Show,
Yeah.
and then
I was there in 2016.
okay,
Sorry.
no, you're fine.
And then I started at Tonight Show in 2016, and then I was there for 2016. Then I left and did a pilot, which obviously did not work out because you've never seen it. And then in 2017, I did a packet for Daily Show and then went in for an interview and then I got hired. So I've been there ever since, on top of like doing stand up and doing other projects and stuff. So it's been pretty great. I'm very thankful.
Who's been your favorite to work with there at the Daily Show? I know that that must be an interesting group of individuals to work with.
Yeah,
Whether it's Roy
everybody's
Jones
really
or
dope.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
um I think yeah, it's very hard to say. I really love working with like all the writers that I've been blessed to collaborate with have been maybe like taught me the most and been the biggest inspiration for me. But it's like it's such a non-answer because it really is like
Yeah, no, I mean it makes sense.
everybody led to it being dope and everything.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Do you know what's going on with the hosting of the show right now? I know that so Trevor Noah's not doing it anymore.
Yeah,
And then
they announced that John's
yes,
doing
yes,
Mondays.
we were
Yeah,
talking about this
yeah.
in the car. Jon
Yeah,
Stewart.
yeah.
Yeah, Jon Stewart's gonna do
John's
it.
doing
Yes.
Mondays, and then it will be news team during the
Gotcha.
rest of the
Is
week.
that exciting to work with? Have you worked with
Yeah.
Jon Stewart before?
No, it's
No?
my first
Yeah,
time.
first time. First
Yeah,
time. Is that
yeah.
how's that as a comedian? Did you grow up
Oh,
watching Jon Stewart?
Yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
So it is dope in that way, where I'm like, oh, this feels like a full circle thing.
Yeah.
Which is very nice.
Who were your mentors going into comedy? Do you have any, or how did you get into it? Because again, I asked the question earlier about lighting and then stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
What brought stand-up comedy to the forefront?
No, I just always loved it. I don't think that it was a thing of one particular person or anything. I think as I've started to do more comedy and as I've elevated, then I have mentors, like Trevor's been a mentor and everything, and been blessed to work with the people that I've worked with. So
Absolutely.
it's like that sort of came later. As far as like the beginning, it was just doing like open mics and
Yeah.
stuff.
You have this really nice quote, and I'm gonna completely screw it up, on the new special, which is available on Peacock, where you say something along the lines of like comedy is a way to deal with pain. Some people cry, I
Oh
laugh.
yeah.
And I think it really resonated with me, because something that I've discovered, there's two things that I've discovered about comics as we've been doing the show. One is that they're extremely creative and do just about anything. We have an interview with Morgan Jay. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work. It's kind of like Bo Burnham musical comedy style.
Yeah.
Coming up, and I just see writer, actor, comedian, producer, everything. And preparing for the interview, it's the same thing. They really are diverse. And the second thing is that they have that notion of kind of dealing with pain through laughter. And there's a lot of different types and unique pains that each comic goes through, but it kind of leads back to that. Would you say that that's always been how you've dealt with pain, or is it something newer, something that you learned, or what's your take on it?
Yeah, I think it's something that's always been there for the most part. Making it a skill is what's taking time, and making it something that other people understand is what's taking time. But yeah, it's been that for the most part. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And this journey of I don't even know if characterizing it as like a journey of self-discovery, self-growth, I don't know what the right word is, but I started this new show, which is going to be launching in February. So we're recording this at the beginning of February. It's going to be launching in the middle of this month. And a big part of it was having conversations with people to learn more about myself, to learn more about which interests I have, to dive into it, to kind of push myself as a passion project. In what ways do you think comedy has been able to do that for you? Learning about yourself, and what do you think inspired this? Because have you always gone to therapy? Is it a newer thing? Because that's something that I'm also starting
I
as
think
well.
I understand. Yeah, I think, I mean, therapy's been off and on. I feel like I go when it's almost like a doctor, where it's like you go when you're sick. I don't know if I like would go if I felt like I had nothing to say, just because it costs money. Do you know what I mean? Like
That's fair. No,
if
that's
therapy was
fair.
like free,
Yeah.
then yeah, go
Yeah.
every week and just
Yeah.
like shoot the shit sometimes.
Mhm.
But like as long as it's like only half covered by your insurance, maybe, I don't know, maybe bank a little trauma here and there every
Sure.
once in a while.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not, I don't know what to tell other people to do, but
Yeah.
that's just what I've done
Yeah.
in the past. And I don't know, I think that it for the most part, every few years I feel like I'm figuring things out in a slightly different way. So it's all been, I think, through that like scope of doing
Mhm.
comedy, and through the scope of finding a way to uh, make everything make sense through jokes. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm answering the
No,
question
yeah,
well,
no.
but yeah, I think that um, for the most part, yeah, I'm still sort of in process of how best to like manage myself and my
Yeah, I think we all are. And I don't know
yeah
if there's if it's it's not, I don't even think characterizing it as a journey is right because I don't think
yeah
that there's like an end. You know, it's kind of
yeah.
this thing where you go and you progress and you
Well,
learn.
you do die,
Well,
so
yeah.
yeah
That's
yeah
the finish line. But even then,
yeah
I don't know if at that point you've completed life. You kind of
yeah.
it's kind of just over. You didn't really.
I mean, that'd be a lot
Yeah.
if you died and they were like, but tell us what you think.
Like you leave
Like,
a little review.
oh
Like at
no.
the at the end they ask for like a
Oh,
20% tip on the iPad and
oh, yeah, especially if you lived a long time. You're like, oh, jeez.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Something on the special, and this one's a little bit tougher, so you can take your time with it. Something on the special that really got with me, and the reason that I decided to even do this compassion of or this combination of compassion and shock and humor that you do on your show. Something that got to me was when you talked about your father
Hmm.
and your father passing away. And as I've gotten older, I've had these experiences now with my dad where it's like, hey, he goes to the doctor, his blood work comes back, it's not the best, or he's having a liver issue, or he's having, whatever complication, and it's stressful, it's worrisome, but in a kind of interesting way. It also makes me appreciate the conversations that I do get to have with him. You
Hmm.
mentioned, you know, picking up the phone call.
Hmm.
When you were informed that your dad was sick, and I remember earlier in the day before having watched your special, I did the same thing with my father,
Hmm.
where it was kind of this thing where I saw that the call came in. I don't care what I'm doing. I will just answer, pick up, whether it's just like a quick, hey, just to say that I love you at the very end. Hey, I'll call you back in a second. I'm busy right now. I love you.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I think when you do that, I think there's less room for regret
Mm,
whenever something, you know, finally happens or you don't know what's going to happen. So it's like you're having your last memory be um, in any way positive is always like a blessing.
mm,
I try not to really leave things on fights with people or like have an argument without someone knowing that I'm very much like care about them or
mm, mm.
whatever the thing is. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think those things are important. That's why I included it
yeah,
in
absolutely.
the special and everything.
Absolutely. Is this something that, for me at least, it's always been reiterated through my mom, ironically, that it's kind of this thing like we don't go to bed upset at each other. Like you don't leave the house slamming the door, being like, whatever, I'll be back later. Always just leave on a good note because you never know what happens when you're going to bed. You never know what happens driving because like it's one of these things where of course it can be a sickness and you can kind of get the I guess benefit might not even be the right way to put it, but you can have the opportunity to say goodbyes, but life comes unexpectedly. And it can be driving or it can be just going to sleep. You never know what happens. So she kind of instilled this idea of like always leaving on a positive note. Is this something that was instilled with you? Or is this something that you had to learn?
No, I
Um,
just think I learned it over time. It
yeah,
wasn't like a thing that people really like hammered.
sure.
It was more like, yeah, just especially watching it happen with other people, like lose
Mm,
people suddenly and stuff,
mm,
and being very thankful that that hadn't happened to me yet. And
yeah,
so trying to be a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more gracious and a little bit more attentive that things like that could happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, that makes complete sense. Um, yeah, it was just one of those things. I love the way that you did it in the special as well, where it was near the end, and it really built on this story that you've been telling us of your kind of your childhood, your process, learning about yourself. And I think that it really let me resonate with you even before meeting you through this kind of connection that we all have, this fear of death. And so I mean I just think that it's something that gets under or overlooked often. It's the ability to be able to have these tough conversations in a comedic setting, and you just did it amazingly.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for watching. I mean, you would think, especially like you've been shouting out the Peacock special a lot, and it's rough that this room is after. Do you know what I mean? Like you would think that you'd go, you'd really skyrocket from there, and this is after. So
Well, there's a lot more to come.
Yeah,
What's the thing that
sure.
you're most excited about right now here in this near future? Is it the tour? Is it working
Yeah,
with Disney?
I think it's mostly touring, and then I'm uploading new sets every week
Yeah,
to
yeah,
YouTube. So
Yeah. And they've been
that's
successful. I've been
yeah,
checking
yeah,
them out
no,
as well.
it's
You've
been
been
going
you've been
well.
doing really awesome. And
Thanks, man.
what was it the other night? You did like a live stream or a premiere or
Yeah,
something?
live stream, yeah.
And I've been seeing all of that. The channel's doing well.
Thanks, man.
TikTok's
Yeah.
TikTok's been blowing up for you. Do you think that TikTok offers kind of a new spotlight for comics?
I wouldn't call it new, but definitely like an important one. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So yeah, those are the things I'm most excited about right now. Just
Yeah.
working on those every week. Having another one drop every Tuesday,
Mm.
unless something goes horribly wrong, then Wednesday.
There you go.
Yeah.
Heard it. Anything else you'd like to shout out?
No, I think that they've seen enough of The Room. I think that I think that I'd like to thank anyone who is still watching
Yeah,
and
likewise.
let them know that this is all my fault.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you.
I really did appreciate the conversation.
I appreciate the conversation, and next time it'll be at a better setting. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I'm
Like,
looking forward to it.
you'll be able to track my progress through backgrounds.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah.
like next interview, you might be like, "Wow, he's still struggling." That's wild. I guess it's a Hampton in this time, but yeah.
Making
Ooh.
it through. Well, yeah.
Next one will hopefully be a W. That'll be good.
Absolutely.
W hotel, maybe an ace.
Okay. Keeping it fancy.
yeah,
Some
and
Fiji water bottles.
Also, I'm not trashing the Hilton or the Hilton Garden Inn. It's just this corner that we picked.
It is really
that is a bit rough.
It's more, you know what? We're also, I think the issue is that we are framing it as though this room was meant to be recorded in. It does its job as a hotel room. It has 2 beds.
yes.
It's clean. It's
Yeah.
not like egregious.
Yeah.
It has a nice TV. It's just probably they didn't construct this room in mind for an interview.
Yeah, in fact, I probably should have never said which hotel it was, because now any hopes of getting a promotion with that hotel may have been tarnished.
We'll blurb it out.
Yeah,
out.
if you could bleep it out,
Yeah, no, we got you.
that'd be great.
Yeah, we got you.
I don't even think I'm on their radar, but in case I am,
You never know.
and
No.
it's really something like this
Yeah.
that kills the deal.
For their highest reward programs, you have
Yeah.
to be personally invited by the CEO. So
Mhm.
it's definitely good to
Yeah.
to
Please
people
be.
over. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you. Absolutely. Well, thank you to everyone listening to the podcast. If you want to stay connected with everything that I'm doing, everything that the Ox Institute is doing, be sure to head over to oxinstitute.org. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Damian Galvan Show. Goodbye. Awesome. Solid. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, thank you so much.
No,
That was
thanks
really
for
awesome.
thanks for coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for
yeah.
having